Hey, what's going on, everybody? It is Ty back at it again with another Apex Legends video. In today's video, I am going to be skimming over what I personally believe are the best, if not the worst, possible things that you can do inside of gunfights in Apex Legends. Now, these are my opinions, and these are certain topics that I believe are the most important to know and to try to avoid if possible. If you guys have anything else in mind that I may have missed, please write it down in the comments below, and I will try to get to that in another video if possible. With all that being said, I hope you guys are staying safe. I hope everybody is doing well. We're going to get right into the video. So, for the first topic that I have for you guys is never ever let your enemy get high ground if possible. Now, this may only apply to Kings Canyon for the sheer fact that World's Edge is pretty difficult to not give your enemy the high ground advantage, because there's a lot of high ground inside of that map. So I'll do another separate video for positioning and all that kind of stuff on World's Edge, but right now we're sticking with Kings Canyon. So on Kings Canyon, there are a lot of ways that you can position yourself and rotate in order to keep your high ground. Now, as you're watching in the clip here, there is a full team below me, and there's a little room that they're actually hiding in right now, and I actually knocked a teammate prior to this. So I was positioning myself on top of the little section here and didn't jump down and rush in just yet. I took advantage of waiting for them to panic, freak out, and then go for the res. And then when I heard them reviving, that's when I pushed in and started to fire, and that's when I had my teammates put up. If I died, they were going to be able to clean it up. So keeping your high ground is one of the most important things, because it makes shooting you a little bit more difficult for the enemy team and you shooting them just a little bit easier. That is the benefit of having high ground. And if you can, try to position yourself in a high ground spot to where you're actually hidden behind something, or maybe you're able to have a head glitch, or even if you're running Gibby. If you have a Gibby and you're on high ground, put his bubble down and just kind of weave in and out of the bubble, shooting at people, trying to tag them up for when they get up to you. That is also a very good scenario that is most likely going to be one in your favor. So high ground is definitely key inside of Apex. Now, it might be a little bit different if the enemy team is running a lot of position type players. So Pathfinder would be a big one. Wraith might be to portal up and get high ground above you. Just make sure when you rotate. So down here where I'm at on the map currently in the gameplay in the background, as you go further down, you are in like this canyon type area, so it's really, really low. So my teammates and I, we like to position ourselves in the high ground advantage points inside of that canyon. Now, it's probably not the best rotation, considering that on a few sides there is a little cliff and some high ground advantages that a team could get against us, but it's rare we actually run into teams that go to that spot, so we tend to just play it the way we have been, and it's been working for us. So even if you're in a lower spot inside of Apex Legends, like I said, the canyon, try to position yourself in the high ground advantage inside of that lower canyon. So where we rotate down by the foot, there are some little, I don't even know what you want to call it, like roofing type shelves that come out of the ground, and you're actually able to position yourself a little bit higher than your enemies would. There are a few buildings as well that you can climb on top of, and you already have the high ground. That is definitely important, guys. High ground is so important because you can shoot them easier than they're able to shoot you. It's so important. So the takeaway from that is positioning and high ground are so important in Apex. Always try to engage in high ground. Always. So with that being said, we're going to get right into the next topic. The next topic is going to be know your weapon and what fights to pick with that weapon. Now, what I mean by that is don't run up with a freaking sentinel and try to no-scope people or quick-scope people point blank. Now, sometimes, yes, if you're going for a clip, might be cool. If their shield's broken, cool, go for it. Do whatever you want to do. But in real scenarios, if you're trying to grind for your rank, if you want to just win, that is not the proper rushing tactic and even way to play with that weapon. So I'm going to give a few class setups that I kind of typically run, and I'm going to tell you how I would play them and how everyone else should play them as well. So, say you have the Sentinel and the G7 Scout. You do not want to push up past medium range, because if you are short range, 9 times out of 10, someone's going to have a Havoc, they're going to have a Peacekeeper or an R99, and you're going to get shredded because you have a G7 Scout and a Sentinel. So when you have those 2 weapons, your best bet is to run a medium scope on the G7 and a longer range scope on the Sentinel, and just kind of pop off from a decently far range and just melt the enemy team for your teammates to rush into. You can push up just a little bit to medium range, but I would recommend the G7 Scout over that more than I would the Sentinel. So that's just an example of that class setup. You want to be a little bit passive. You don't want to play really aggressive. And if you go into a game planning on picking up those 2 weapons, I would definitely recommend switching up your Legend as well, because that's going to help. You don't want to play Wraith, who is a very aggressive, pushy Legend, and sit back with a G7 Scout and a Sentinel. It's not gonna. It doesn't make sense. So with another class setup you could be running that's pretty popular is the R99 Wingman or R99 and Peacekeeper. With those 2, the difference is very, very little, because people tend to run up on others with the Wingman like it's a shotgun. I don't know why, but they kind of apply. The same aspects go into both of those. So if you have those 2 weapons, or those 3 weapons I should say, you always want to be pushing up. Short to point blank range with those weapons is probably the best that you can be at. I would recommend short range more, because if you're trying to laser with an R99, it's really hard to track when you're point blank, and more than likely a shotgun's going to beat you over that distance anyway. So try to stay a little bit further away, but not too far from them. So the R99, you want to be up in their face, you want to laser some kids, you want to drop some kids if possible, and even if you down, you just want to ensure that you are taking as much of the enemy's health away as possible before your teammates get there. That is what an aggressive player is meant for, and if you're really good, go ahead and run in there and destroy teams. That's perfect. Help your team out, destroy and wipe squads, do whatever you feel is best, go for it. But that's the main role of someone that is very aggressive and pushy, is you just want to lower the enemy team's health as much as possible and destroy as much shield as possible before your teammates can actually come in and finish them off. Now that Legend thing applies to them as well. You want to play someone that's more up close and in your face, like Wraith, Bangalore, maybe Lifeline. They're very short, very fast, and they're capable of getting to places that you wouldn't normally be able to get to. So the takeaway from that is, if you're choosing certain classes, try to orient them based off of how you want to play that game. If you want to play passive, choose a sniper or longer range weapons. If you want to be up in someone's face and just destroy kids, choose Peacekeeper, choose something that's up close and personal. So with the next topic, guys, we're going to get into play the Legends to your advantage. Now, each Legend inside of Apex Legends has a, let's call it, unique capability. Now, say, like this goes into play with the last topic that I covered. If you are up close and a very aggressive player, you do not want to be playing someone that is slow, clunky, and is not able to get out of fights fast, heal up, and then get back into them just as fast. You want to play someone that is extremely fast, capable of moving to points that you wouldn't even know they were capable of moving to, that kind of deal. So if you're up close and personal, use Wraith. She has an immune. She can actually escape from fights. She can get up, hide, she can heal, do whatever she needs to do. She also has the capability of portaling her teammates out if they are down, which is also very, very important. Lifeline's key too, like I said. Any small character that's really fast, very nimble, those are perfect for up close and personal. And use their kits to your advantage as well. Now, Lifeline, that's self-explanatory. You pop that heal down anytime you can. And as you can see in the clip here, I was rezzing a teammate, and I always try to res when I'm playing Lifeline in the direction of possible enemy fire. Now, what I mean by that is I will not just come up and res them directly from the side and face my shield off to a wall or something like that. I will always try to face my shield in the direction of enemies, because that shield is actually pretty good. It will save you. It will allow you to get your shield or your res off. Very important. Now, when it comes to, say, playing Pathfinder, his main ability is to get himself out of really bad scenarios, or get himself into scenarios that he wants to be. Also, with his ult, it is a zip line. It's a very, very good rotational tool. I always recommend trying to Pathfinder on your team, because Pathfinder for getting high ground is so good, guys, because there are some pretty tricky spots that you can get into if you know about them, and it's automatically guaranteed high ground if you're running Pathfinder, because he can use his ult and get you up there. Now, there are some legends, their ult is pretty useless if I do say so myself. Octane, I really don't like Octane too much, just because I don't know, I think he's kind of useless. He's just a pimped up combination of just a bunch of legends. His ult can sometimes be used to get to high ground, but you have to place it very carefully, and it doesn't even go that high. So getting high ground in certain scenarios is just not going to work with Octane. But with other gods and legends, it is going to be very beneficial for you to play with their kit. So say if you're playing Gibby, something that I told some of my friends, especially in this background footage you're seeing, is something you could do with Gibby is actually, if you're in the middle of a gunfight and say you are actually getting triple teams, now you're getting hit by all these teams, you're just getting swarmed. I told my teammate to drop his Gibby shield, his little bubble, and throw his ult inside of that bubble. Now, what that does is it allows you to take cover and you don't get that little shockwave effect from your allies' ults. But you being in that bubble allows everything around you to be practically destroyed. My teammate actually, in a few games we played, dropped about 7 kills with his ult. It was crazy. He did so much damage, and it was actually a crazy strategy. You just have to play to your legends' full capabilities, use their kits wisely, know their kits and how to use them. Gibby is very strong, he's very tanky, he has that shield on his arm. Gibby overall is a more passive player that tends to just chunk from a distance. That's all I'm saying about this topic, guys. Legends, know what their abilities are, know what their ults are, and know what you should be doing with that specific legend. Right on to the next topic, y'all. It's going to be choose your fights carefully. Now, what I mean by this, and this goes, all of these topics kind of go hand in hand. With this topic, you do not want to push someone that has high ground advantage and they are geared. Now, what I mean by that is maybe they have high ground advantage and your only way up to them is one way up, and they have it Watsoned off. They may have a Caustic up there. They might even have some, I don't even know. They just have a bunch of people that are annoying as hell. They have a Gibby, a Caustic, and a Watson. Don't push that way. Run away. I know you guys want to get kills and you want to destroy some teammates, some teams, and you want to win. But some fights are just best to leave alone. And you want that team to get destroyed by someone else, or you want to fight them in the end circle where you can pop off from a distance. Because trying to push in that scenario is not going to be good. It is not going to benefit you in any way. But if you somehow manage to win that fight, props to you, because the enemy team sucks. But what I'm saying is just be smart and try to think a little bit more about the gunfights you are intending to choose. You don't want to choose someone that's in high ground above you. You can pop off here and there and try to rotate to high ground behind them. That is the best thing you could do. And maybe you're even low health. If you're low health, don't run into a fight unless you absolutely have to. Running into fights like it's just nothing and you just think you're going to win every single fight, that's probably why you're not going to win as many games. Choose your fights carefully. Pay attention to how that fight's going. Pay attention to what you can do to better that gunfight, better your positioning, better anything to do with you fighting that enemy team. And when you think you have the upper hand, that's when you can go ahead and fight them. Only when you think you have the upper hand. That is it. Because 9 times out of 10, if you don't think you have the upper hand, you will not win that gunfight, and it won't end well for your teammates. Just always try to position yourself better. Always try to avoid people that are positioned better than you. And try to avoid fights that you just know you can't win. Say you're getting destroyed by a Wraith, run away. You don't have to fight just because, you know, your teammates are yelling in your ear, backseat gaming, telling you to fight them. Run away. Grab their banners and heal up, restart, you know, have a decent rest of the game and try to potentially come back and fight that Wraith and whoop her ass in the end. So that's the takeaway from that. Is just know what you're running into and know the fights that you're going to choose. I play with a lot of people that rush into fights and they think they are Asu. I don't even know why. They think they're amazing. They think they're insane. I'm not taking away any credit from my teammates, but when you think you are that good, you're going to push into a lot of fights and you're going to get killed in a lot of fights. I don't like it because they run in and they're down instantly, and they honestly probably won't get that much damage off on an enemy anyway, so it's not beneficial for me to get a drop teammate and to have to 2v3 or 1v3 them. Know your own capabilities. Know what you as a player are able to do. If you are really good, your aim's on point, you are just kicking butt that game. Run in, go for it. If you want to do what you want, go for it. Try to laser some teams, do what you need to do, play how you want to play. Just as long as you know you're playing to your full capabilities, and you're knowing that if you challenge this certain fight or this certain, I don't even know, this scenario, if you know that you can't challenge that and win, back up. That's perfect. I would rather you tell me that you didn't challenge because you didn't know if you would win or not, than you to rush in and just get demolished because you felt like you had to go in. Know your capabilities, guys. Know your capabilities with whatever weapon you're using. So if you're using a G7 Scout and you know you're going to laser people, run that gun 24/7 if you feel like it. Laser people. Use that gun, get good with it, and demolish teams, take some dubs. Know your legends that you are going to play. You're playing with a legend like Caustic, you know all the tricks of Caustic. You know how to put the traps down in positions where they can't get shot. They put them behind doors to block off enemy players. Play Caustic, man. Play whoever you feel like you are going to do best with in that scenario. That is basically all I have for you guys today. I hope you guys enjoyed the topics that I laid down on the table, and I hope you guys are willing to drop some in the comments below if I may have missed any important topics you guys thought about. With all that being said, y'all, it is Ty. I hope y'all are staying safe, and I will catch y'all in the next video. Peace.